Natan, I think. Okay, thank you. Okay, Boker Tov, everyone. Good morning. So what we'll do today, we'll start today. Maybe we will finish it today, or maybe we'll just need to continue for next time as well. But we are going to really try to read another Agadah, another story in the Talmud, which I think contains tremendous messages, historical messages, messages of how historical messages in terms of not about just about history, but about how Jews had to deal internally and externally with enemies from within and from the outside, and what did they do? And I think there are some relevant messages for us as well. So, do you see the source sheet now? Do you see it? Okay, great.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so let's start. So the story is in Gemara in Brachot in Daf Nun Chet, and as I did last time with you, we're going to analyze the story by itself, and then we'll ask questions. We'll try to find key words.
Shai, can you make the print a little bit bigger, please?
The what?
The print.
To make
the
it
text
big.
a little bit bigger.
That's good.
Thank you.
Okay. So so the thing is that we will read the story, ask questions, try to find key words to lead us in some kind of solutions. What we will do today also, we're going to compare the text to some different manuscripts that we will see some differences that I think has value, and we will develop that as well. And then I'll try to connect this story to the entire sugya in Daf Kafchet. So let's start and let's see how it goes, and we will go from there. Rabbi Shila, that's his name. We will talk about him a little later. Nagde leahu gavra de Baal nochrit. So Rabbi Shila beat up, gave lashes to this person who had relationship with a non-Jewish woman. Okay, Azal. So this guy who had this relationship with this non-Jewish woman, Achal be kurtzei be Malka. So he went to the Roman Empire and he told them there is a Jew there that is judging without permission. Amar ikachad gavra biyehudai bekadain dina belohar mena de Malka. He gave me lashes, and he has no authority to give me lashes. Authority should not come. There is no Jewish autonomy, it seems to be. And basically, he has no right to do it. You didn't give him any permission to do it, so I'm just telling you about him. Shadar ale pristika. So the king basically sent someone to bring him and to have a little talk with him. How can he do something like this?
Yes.
Ki ata amrile. So when he came to the Roman governor or to the Roman judge, so when Rabbi Shila came, so he says to him, Matama nagte lehai. Why did you give lashes to this person? Amar lehu. So he said to them, which means, no, what? Just 1 second. Okay. So he says to him, why did you do that? How can you give lashes to a person without any authority? So he says to him, Amaleu. So Rabbi Shila said to the Roman governor, Deba al Hamarta. This guy had relationship with a donkey. Now we know that this person had relationship with whom? With a non-Jewish woman. So Rabbi Shila is basically changing the truth or lying, and he says this guy had relationship with a donkey, and even in your rules, it's something despicable. This is something that we all cannot agree. Amrile, itlach sadi, do you have witnesses that he did? Amar lehu, so he told them, I do have witnesses that can testify that this guy had relationship with a donkey. Ata Eliyahu, so Eliyahu came along, Eliyahu the prophet. Idmi lekeinish ve'asid. So he pretended to be a witness, and he testified that this person had relationship with a donkey. Now, by the way, you see in the Roman judicial system, you don't need to have two witnesses. One witness will be enough. Amrile, so the Roman governor and his group says to Rabbi Shila, Iachi bar ktalahu. If so, if you have a witness that he had a relationship with a donkey, you should kill him, not only just give him lashes. Amar lehu, so he said to them, Anan miyoma de galinan me'arin letlan reshuta lemiktal. We, since the day that we were expelled or exiled from our country, we really don't really have the authority to what? To judge dine nefashot, to kill someone, to execute someone. Atun, maidebaitun, avidube. You can do whatever you want with him. I did what I could. I just gave him lashes to show that I'm totally dissatisfied from what he did. But if you think he deserved death, it's all yours. Ad de me'ayne bedina, so they start discussing the case. Patach Rab Shila ve'amar, so Rab Shila, for the meantime that they are discussing the case, he starts giving a drasha. So he speaks to himself and he says, the pasuk says, Lecha Hashem hagdula ve'hagvura. To you, Hashem, is the greatness and awesomeness. Amrile, so they told him, Maika amart, what did you say? Amar lehu achika amina. That's what I said. Brich rachmana deyaiv malchuta be'ara ke'ein malchuta derekia ve'yaiv lechu shultane verachme dina. Said, oh, I'll tell you what I said. I just said, Baruch Hashem, that Hashem gave authority to kings like you, and that gives you the power to judge and to give you the ability to find compassion when you judge someone. Okay. Amru, so they said, Chaviva alea yikra de malchute kulehai. This guy loves us. He just said the drasha that talked about how great we are and how great it is the fact that Hashem gave us the authority to judge things on the earth. Yahavi lekulfa. So they gave him a staff that basically shows that this now he has the authority to judge. So at the beginning of the story, he had no authority. Now the government gives him authority to judge. So kulfa, it was like a staff with a sign that he is the judge. Veya amule, don't dina. So they told him from now on, you can judge. Okay. Ki have nafik. So when he went out from this little meeting with the governor, Amar le'ahu gavra, so this guy who, you remember, received lashes and was accused to have relationship with a donkey, he says to Rabbi Shila, Avid Rahmana Nisa Leshikre Hachi, what God makes miracles to liars like you? You lied. I didn't have any relationship with a donkey. I did have relationship with a non-Jewish woman, but you lied, and it seems to be that God gives miracles to liars. Amar lerasha, lav chamri ikru, yichtiv asher besar chamurim besaram. So Rab Shila says to that person, says to him, Rasha, you are an evil person. Don't you know that there is a pasuk that basically says that a relationship between a Jew and a non-Jewish, and with a non-Jew, it's considered like you have relationship with a donkey. Chazye, the ka'azil lememra lehu the karinu chamri. So Rab Shila saw that this person, after he heard what Rab Shila had to say to him, he says, oh, I'm going back to the judge, to the governor judge, and I'll tell him that Rab Shila just called them donkeys. Because he basically said that when you have relationship with a non-Jew, so it's like having relationship with the donkey. So I am going to tell on him to the judge, so he will be executed. He will be killed. That's the person who, not Rabbi Shila, the other guy. Amar, Hai Rodefu, והתורה אמרה, אם בא להורגך השכם להורגו, מחיה בקולפה וקטלה. So Rabbi Shila said, oh my God, this guy is going to tell me I'm going to be in big troubles and they're going to kill me. So therefore, what I should do? I will kill him. הבא להורגך השכם להורגו. So he took this kulfa, he took this staff, which was the sign for his judicial authority, and he beat up the guy and he killed him. Are you confused enough, or is that okay, or we can continue? Very strange story, I told you. Amar, so Rabbi Shila said, O'il v'it'avid lenisa b'haikra, says, oh, because a miracle happened to me because I said this pasuk, Lecha Hashem HaGdula. So you know what? Darshinale. So I will give a drush. I will give now a speech about this pasuk. Lecha Hashem HaGdula. What does it mean that Hashem, you, the greatness belongs to you? Zuma se bereshit. That talks about creation. וכן הוא אומר, עושה גדולות עד אין חקר. So the word גדולות and גדולה. Okay, והגבורה, לך השם הגדולה והגבורה. So what does it mean גבורה? Greatness or awesomeness or power. זו יציאת מצרים, שנאמר, וירא ישראל את היד הגדולה. So גדולה וגבורה. It's not exactly the same because you would think that should be לך השם הגדולה. But he found different sources for it. Okay, והתפארת. זו חמה ולבנה שעמדו לו ליהושע. This is the sun and the moon that basically stopped due to Yehoshua's request. שנאמר, וידום השמש וירח המן. אוקיי. והנצח, זו מפלתה של רומי. Eternity means what? The downfall of Rome. וכן הוא אומר, ויז נצחם על בגדיי. וההוד, זו מלחמת נחלי ארנון, שנאמר, על כן יאמר בספר מלחמות השם אתבהב בסופה. So hod, glory, that associates with what? With the war that the Jews had when they entered the land of Israel. ככל בשמיים ובארץ, that Hashem is everywhere בשמיים ובארץ, זו מלחמת סיסרא. That's the war against סיסרא, with יעל and ברק, שנאמר מן שמיים נלחמו הכוכבים ממסדותם. Hashem in a way had a battle with Sisra from heaven. לך השם הממלכה, so Hashem, kingdom belongs to you, זו מלחמת עמלק. This is the war against עמלק, וכן הוא אומר כי יד על כסקה. לך השם הגדולה, הגבורה, התפארת, הנצח וההוד, ככל בשמיים ובארץ, לך השם הממלכה והמתנשא. So what is מתנשא? Someone is being elevated. זו מלחמת גוג ומגוג. That's the ultimate war against גוג ומגוג. וכן הוא אומר, הנני אליך גוג נשיא ראש משך ותובל. לכל לראש, אמר רב חנן הרב, אמר רבי יוחנן אפילו ריש גרגיתא מן שמיא מנולה. What does it mean לכל ראש? So not head, but rather head position, which means basically he says even someone who is being appointed to something that it's not so important, still everything, every appointment is from Hashem, is from God. Okay. Now, I will stop share for a second and I will look at all of you here. You all look confused and I think mission is accomplished. This story is one of the most strange stories. The problem is, I mean, I would assume, I don't want to put you in an uncomfortable situation, but I would ask. I would assume that many of us learn Gemara Brachot. And this Gemara Brachot, Nulchet Amud Aleph, we all get to it. And how many of us stopped for a second and said to ourselves, what is going on here? This is so strange that I don't really even know where to start in terms of the questions. I will tell you that we don't know exactly when Rabbi Shila operated. Many people identify him as Amora, but we don't know exactly if he was in Eretz Israel or if he was in Bavel. We're not exactly know, but we know one thing for sure, that he at least thought about himself as a judge. Why? Because when he saw or when he heard that this person has relationship with a non-Jew, he immediately gave him lashes. But what really bothers me is the following. First and foremost, Rabbi Shila lied twice. He lied. First time he lied when he was brought to question regarding how come that you judged. And he said, oh my God, this guy had relationship with the donkey. Even in your system, you would punish him. But he didn't. He didn't had relationship with the donkey, this person. He had a relationship with non-Jewish woman. So he lied once. Then he lied twice. Because when the Roman government or the judge or whoever he was asked him, what did you say? He gave praises to the Roman Empire. And we know that at the end, he bashes them. He is praying for their downfall. And he lies again. So we have two issues with Rav Shila lying twice. And by the way, I don't want to sugarcoat it. He lied. He tries to say, oh, sleeping with a non-Jew, it's like, but if he thinks like that, why is he afraid? So obviously we have an issue here. Issue number one. The second issue is that we have this very interesting conversation between Rav Shila and that person, and we have a conversation between Rav Shila and the Roman government, and it seems to be that Rabbi Shila is more against this Jewish guy rather than the Roman Empire, which is also causes us to question the story in terms of its lessons. What does it mean? What is going on in Jewish history around that time that causes Rabbi Shila to switch roles and sometimes to be very flattering to the government and very harsh on this Jew, and then really at the end what he really thinks is very harsh things about this Roman Empire. And the third question that I would like to ask is, what is this entire story about this drasha, about this pasuk Lecha Hashem Agdula V'Agvura, talking about all the miracles that took place and all the miracles that will take place? What is exactly going on in that story? So when I look at the story, I look at the story in the Gemara from different aspects. First, I analyze the story, or at least try to analyze the story like it's a story, and use literature tools to try to analyze the story, which means to try to find common words that are repeated more than once. So to try to see if there is some kind of what we call a guiding word that guides you to some kind of a lesson, and to try to see if there are some kind of repetitive themes in the story, so I can see at least what direction should I go. And then what I do is that I try to compare it to other manuscripts to see if there are differences in the story, so I might see yet another aspect, and then build up the lessons, and then try to see if there is any connection to the sugya in general. Okay, so before we start, anyone has a question? Feigi, yeah, I see half of you. Yes, but you need to unmute.
Oh, you have to unmute.
I did.
He unmuted. It is unmuted.
Just now.
It's just a comment. The Rav's first comment that it was a donkey, wasn't he trying to protect the person who did the wrong thing? And he doesn't want to insult the Roman Empire by saying, well, we're not allowed to cohabit with your people. Isn't that sort of like trying to, assuage them? Had he said, oh, it's terrible because he cohabitated with one of your people. I mean, isn't that worse for him to say?
I will maybe accept the first comment, which means that he definitely Sorry, I will not accept your first comment, which means he didn't want to protect the Jew. He wanted to really to throw the Jew to the lion den, which means he gave him lashes, knowing that he had a relationship with a non-Jew. Now he knows that this sin, this transgression, is not being looked at something negative by the Roman Empire. So that's why he changes and he lies and he says, no, he slept with the donkey, which even according to Roman system, that's a no-go. That's a no-no. Now, he definitely cannot stick to his claim that, I gave him lashes because he cohabited with one of yours, because the Romans will look at him and say, we're going to kill you.
Right.
Meaning we want, so that I agree 100%. But Rav Shila want that Jew to get those lashes because don't forget, and you know what, Peggy, you know what, you just pushed me to say that. One of the things that we definitely need to take into consideration is that Jews, and especially the leaders, had a dual struggle. They had struggled from within with Jews who challenged them, knowing that they don't have enough authority, or they don't have all the authority in their hands. So they challenge them and they push the envelope all the time. And then those leaders had to deal with them, but also to deal with whom? With the external power, which is, in this story, is the Roman Empire. And that's why I also titled the story, it's a struggle from within and out, which means you have a Jew who knows that relationship with a non-Jewish woman is not exactly acceptable, and he does it. And we will talk in a minute if he did it publicly or privately. We will talk about it in a few minutes. And he does it, and he thinks he will not be punished. He wants to ruin what the Jewish leaders, the spiritual leaders, will obviously dictate and determine as a terrible thing for the Jewish people. But the problem is that if they will react to him, he will go to outside of the community to punish the Jewish leaders. He has the ability to do it because the Jews don't have really the autonomy. So the Romans will intervene and will punish the leaders, and the leaders will be totally paralyzed. He knows that, which means the Jewish leader in that era, and by the way, most of the time, had a tremendous dilemma. If he will be too weak and too soft, the Jewish society will deteriorate. If he will be strong and harsh, he can get it from the external government that will punish him or will kill him. This is the dilemma that the Jewish leader had at that exact time. So, Fegia, in a way, I said something that I wanted to say a little bit later, but reacting to your comment, I had to say that yes, he couldn't tell them exactly what was the transgression that he punished him. At the same time, he had to punish him in order to show the Jewish community, we as a Jewish leader, I cannot accept those things. But we will develop it a little bit more as we go. So I would like to go back to the story, okay, and try to find keywords and then to develop an idea, and then I'll open it up again for questions.
Thanks. So one was the public and one was the private.
Oh, I'll show you. We need to see the manuscript in this. So let's do one by one. I don't want to jump. Let's go and try to analyze the story. Until now, I just read for you the story. I asked a few questions, and we didn't do a thing yet. So now let's see the story itself.
One question: Is it take place in Israel or in Rome?
No, definitely not in Rome. It's probably in Israel. The Roman Empire governed the land of Israel in the 3rd, 4th, and really even 5th century as well.
But they
Okay,
have
so now,
Jews in Rome.
yeah, but that was not in Rome because at that time the Jewish community in Rome was not that big, and Rav Shila definitely was not in Rome. That we know for sure. Okay, so everyone can see the source sheet now? Yes, okay. So one of the things that we see, I'm looking for keywords, okay, words that are being repeated more than once. So for example, the word Gavra, as you see, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, and I think there was another 1, 3. Okay, let's say 3. I'm not going to look for all of them. So basically, who are the Gavra? Gavra is someone who is is definitely a symbol of strength and power. And what we have here is that Rab Shila gave lashes to this guy who is strong. This strong guy went to the Roman Empire to tell on Ikachad Gav Rabbi Yehudai. This guy is tried to be a macher, tried to be a big, quote unquote, a big man. And then when Rab Shila sees the Gavra. So for me, when I look at that, because it could say Chazilahu Inish, Chazilahu, the word Gavra means that there is a confrontation between two very powerful people. Rav Shila is a powerful person who maybe even take authority that does not belong to him or that he cannot get, versus this person who feels that he is also very strong. Why do I say that? Because look at that. This guy says to the rabbi, you are giving me lashes? I am going to tell on you. Now, not every Jew can go to the Roman Empire or to the Roman governor and says, hey, I want to schmooze with you. Let's have coffee together. I want to tell you there is a guy in Israel, guy in whatever place, Rab Shila, he pretends to be a big macher. You need to have some kind of relationship with the Roman government. So you are talking about a confrontation between two very strong people. So that's one thing. Second keyword is the word Malka or Melech. For example, Malka once, Malka twice. Where is that? Malchuta, third, Malchuta, fourth, okay? And then at the end, where is it? Fifth time. 5 times. And I think there is even more. I don't want to waste time on detecting each one of them, but at least 5. So you see it's a repetitive word. The word Melech, Malka, which means authority, power, kingship, which means that you see in the story, what do you see? You see that there is some kind of a conversation or a transportation or transformation between different people. I don't understand what does that mean. 1 second. I don't know. There was something with the Zoom here. So the idea is that we have a struggle of who is the real king. I don't know. I see here that someone is trying to request remote control on the screen. So I'm going to decline it, but I don't know what does that mean even. So Nathan, if you are there, there is someone who is trying to get control over the screen. I don't know what does it mean even. That's the first time I see something like that. So basically, we have this struggle not only between two very strong people, but also a struggle between who is the real king. Because you have Rav Shila, who wants to act like a king. You have the Roman government, and then you have obviously God himself, who is the true king. So you see that you have this struggle, this confrontation between 3 entities. And then we have one more keyword, which is din, judgment. For example, take a look here. Nagde, so he gave him lashes, that's part of a din. Second, dain dina, that's the second one. Third is atun mai de baitun avidube, so the me'aine bebedina, that's the third time, dina. And then the fourth one is don dina. Fourth, and there is a fifth time, rachme dina. So the third issue that we have in this story is also about how do you run a judicial system? What are the components of the judicial system and who should lead the judicial system? So if that's all true, now I need to stop share for a second. And it's time to pause and to recollect the story and then to really analyze it. So we have a story which is strange. We have a rabbi who judged a person, even though he doesn't really have the authority. He is trying to get his way with the government and with this Jew that he judges. And at the end, we have a beautiful drasha that seems to be that has nothing to do really with the pasuk, but a beautiful drasha at the end. And we said already that that was a difficult time for a Jewish leader because he was challenged on both fronts, internally by Jews in his own community and externally by the government or the power that has the authority over him. So now let's ask a few questions. If someone has a relationship with a non-Jew, if a Jew has a relationship with a woman who is not Jewish, so I want to understand something. Rabbi Shila gave him lashes. Why do you think he gave him lashes? So, you know what? I'll open it up. Why not? Why do you think he gave him lashes? And how did he know that this guy had relationship with a non-Jew? You're awfully quiet.
We don't know. It doesn't say.
Okay, very good. So that's a problem. Why would you give lashes to someone? A, we don't know if he saw him, if he heard about it. Even if he heard about it, there are no witnesses. So what? So someone said, you give lashes for that? How can you give him lashes? So, but if it was in public, yeah, let's say this guy, like Zimri ben Salu and Kozbi Batsur, okay, he took her and in front of everyone in the middle of the street, he had relationship with her. So then it should be what? It should be like what Pinchas did, Kanaim Pogimbo. What's the story with the lashes? So take a look at something very interesting. When you look at our tfus, at our print, it says, Rabbi Shila, Nagde le'au gavra de ba'al nochritz. We don't know why did he do it in terms of did he see it, did he heard about it. Take a look in Ktav Yad Minchen. In Ktav Yad Minchen it says, Rabbi Shila chaza le'ahu de ba'al goya v'nagde. What do you see from this manuscript? What's the story? What's the case?
It's public.
He what?
He saw it.
He saw it. Very good. So Rabbi Shila saw this guy having a relationship with what? With a non-Jewish woman. And as a reaction, maybe a personal emotional reaction, maybe as the Jewish leader, he said, I saw it. I cannot just go by my day and move on. I need to show that is something that is totally unacceptable for me. And I'm going to do whatever I can do, which is I can't execute the guy, but I can definitely give him lashes. Now, the thing is, that's what maybe Rav Shila thought, but in terms of the Roman system, if you saw it or if you have witnesses, so what do you need to do? You need to kill him. The problem is he can't. He doesn't have really the authority. So what I wanted to show you is, first and foremost, the Ktav Yad Minchen basically changed this sentence and says, or maybe the tfus, the print probably changed it. It says, Rabbi Shila Chazia, he saw this guy who had relationship with Goya and Nagde. And then he gave him lashes. Now, if that's true, we have something very interesting to see. Rabbi Shila saw this guy and gave him lashes. So the guy who received the lashes, what did he do? He went to tell on him to the government. And he said, based on our print, Ikachad Gavra Beyehudai, Dekadayin dina belohar mena de malka. So what was the accusation? The accusation was that Rabbi Shila is executing judgment without the authority and without the permission. Take a look at Pirenza. Pirenza, that's also a manuscript, says the following. Ika gavra be-Yehudai, there is a Jew in Yehuda, my debai avid, he does whatever he wants, velo nafal eimta de malchuta Allah, and he's not afraid of your government. Shadar Keisar, so the Caesar himself sent Karye, and he called him up. Amar le amaiti avid achi. Why would you do that? Amar le de Baal Chamra. So take a look. I'll give you a minute. Take a look. You know what? I don't know if I can do it here.
Rabbi, your screen is not being shared.
Oh, Harold, sorry. Thank you. Okay, now you got it? Thank you. I'm playing with two screens, so I'm sorry.
Got it.
So, Ktav Yad Pirenze, look at this Ktav Yad Pirenze, okay? And tell me, please, what was the accusation against Rav Shila, and what was the government's reaction to this accusation?
So there's somebody who's acting autonomously among the Jews, and that's dangerous that's kind of seditious. It's dangerous for the Roman government if someone is taking authority without consulting with them.
Okay, very good, Barbara. Thank you. Basically, the accusation is not that he judged inappropriately in terms of he doesn't have authority. He does whatever he wants. This guy is a rebel, which means Rav Shila is being accused as a rebel. He rebelled against you. He doesn't care about you, government. And therefore, we understand, take a look, Shadar Keisar, the Roman Caesar by himself, basically calls up Rav Shila and says to him, hey, man, I'm going to call you for order. You need to report to me. I will still in you the fear of government so you don't become a rebel, and we will need to crush you. Basically, according to Ktav Yad Pirenze, this guy that received the lashes from Rav Shila brings accusations that are life threat, that they are threatening Rav Shila's life. It's not just, you know what, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't judge appropriately. You know what, next time I'll ask you. No. This is a real accusation that basically puts Rav Shila in tremendous danger. If you look at our print, it's totally missing here. It says basically, Amar ikachad gavra biyudai. Look at the focus. Dekadayin dina belohar mena de malka. It seems to be that this guy who received the lashes does not really want to badmouth Rav Shila totally. He just, he just created a case in judgment that was not appropriate. According to Pirenze, this guy is vicious. He is really going after Rav Shila. This is a Jew. Are you with me? In the print, they try to minimize the confrontation. Rav Shila gave him lashes. This guy is basically complaining that he had no right to give him lashes. Leave me alone. Don't tell me what to do. I want to be a Roman. I want to be whatever. Leave me alone. In Ktav Yad Pirenze, the confrontation is maximized. Rav Shila is being accused of totally ignoring the Roman government and trying to rebel against it. This is a confrontation. And therefore, in our print, it basically says Shadar Alea Pristeka. What is Shadar Alea Pristeka? Someone sent to bring Rav Shila to have a little talk with him. Who is this guy? We don't know. Sachakol a messenger. In Pirenze, it says what? Shadar Keisar Karye. The Caesar himself takes it to his heart and says, whoa, that's not going to go well. By the way, if that's true also, we also know that this Jew who had a relationship with this non-Jewish woman and got the lashes, he is highly connected to the Roman government. He might have an access to the Roman Caesar, or he might have an access to someone who has an access to the Roman Caesar. We're not talking just about, a Joe Schmo. We are talking about a guy which has tremendous status, which means what? Rav Shila was not afraid to have a confrontation with whom? With a very strong Jew. Now, we definitely know that the issue at hand is what? The issue at hand with this story is to tell you the struggle that a Jewish leader had in this time, internally and externally, and the tfus, the print, and the manuscript describes this struggle in a different ways. The print subdue it a bit. It's not, there are, important people, but, they're not that important. The Ktav Yad Firenze, the manuscript from Firenze, basically elevate the story to a boiling point. Rav Shila wants to lead a Jewish life based on Torah, ignoring the Roman government, and he is going to do whatever it takes. This Jew is very highly connected, basically says, you know what? I'm going to show you. I am going to go to the Roman government, and I'm going to tell on you. By the way, this story reminds you what other story of another Jew who went to the Roman government and created tremendous issues to us.
It reminds me of Kamsa and Bar Kamsa, I think, at the end, where they went to the Kesar and said, the Jews don't accept your korbanot.
Very good. The Gemara in Gittin, in Agadot HaChurban. Very good, Barbara. Thank you. You are 2 for 2 today. So the thing is what? Very good. We also have a story there about a very wealthy person. By the way, both of them were wealthy, Kamsa and Bar Kamsa, and they were highly connected to the rabbis and to the Roman government. And he had the ability to go to tell on the Jews and to cause us tremendous issues. Like the Gemara says, it was really, the Gemara basically blamed the rabbis. But at the end of the day, the one who instigated everything was this Bar Kamsa, who went and told on the Jews. So you see from here that the Jewish leadership had tremendous struggle from within and from without. So that's the issue. Now let's continue. So now the Roman Caesar, or whoever is there, says to Rav Shila, why did you give him lashes? Why did you give him lashes? And by the way, in Firenze, he doesn't talk about the lashes. He talks about Amai ti'a v'dachi. Why are you doing that? Meaning, why do you rebel against me? Where in the print, it says, Ma te'ama nagdete lehai. You see the difference? In our print, it basically says, why did you give him lashes? And he says, and he will tell him in a minute, in Firenze, it's not why did you give him lashes, but why do you behave like that? Why do you try to be a rebel? You know what we do to rebels, right? We crucify them. We kill them. We don't want to do it to you. We don't want to start problems. Why are you doing that? So the answer is the same. Amar lehu deba al chamarta. So Rav Shila's first lie, he says, the Baal Chamra. He had relationship with the donkey. Now, how does it answer the question? The question was, according to the print, why did you give him lashes? Answer, he had relationship with the donkey. But we all know that if he had relationship with the donkey, the punishment should be what? Death, not lashes. So it doesn't answer the question. However, if we go with Firenze, and the question was, why do you behave like that? Why do you rebel against us? Rav Shila says to them, what? This guy had relationship with the donkey. So what? Answer is, I need to behave like that because look, the Jewish community is basically going downhill. My people are going downhill if they continue on to what? To follow your rules. So I have no any other opportunity or option rather than what? Rather than to act in a way that if you might see as a revolution or rebellious, but I'm telling you, I'm just doing that to protect you and my community. Now, what I want to suggest is that according to the print, where the question was, why did you give him lashes? The answer is, oh, he had a relationship with the donkey. Does not answer the question. If we follow the manuscript, we do have somewhat of an answer. So let's continue. So the prince says, Amrile, Amrile, Iachi, Barktalahu. So they told him, if he really had a relationship with the donkey, he should die. You should execute him, not just give him lashes. So then he says to them, Amar lehu, Anan miyoma de galinan me'arin, let lan reshuta lemikta. From the day that you basically took over the country, we have no authority to execute anyone. Atun mai de ba'itun avidube. You do whatever you want. You want to kill him, kill him. You want to give him lashes, lashes. You want to crucify him, crucify him. Do whatever you want. This is our print. Which means the question was, why did you give him lashes? Answer, he had a relationship with the donkey. Question, if he had a relationship with the donkey, he should be executed. Answer, I can't do it. I cannot execute him. You do whatever you want. That's the story in the print. Take a look at the manuscript. Amrule iachi barktalahu. So if so, he deserved death. Amale miyoma degalinu me'arana. Let lan reshut lemiktal atun kolma debaitun avidule, which means if you take a look, it says here, Anan miyoma degalinan marin let lan reshuta lemiktal. We don't have the authority to do what? To execute. In Pirenze, it says let lan reshut lemiktal. Atun kol ma debaitun avidule, which means what? One second. He basically says, in a way, he accuses them. Rav Shila accused the Roman government, says, look, I would kill him. But you know what's the problem? The problem is not me. The problem is whom? Is you. You took our authority to execute people and to judge them based on Torah rules because you took over Israel and you took over our Jewish autonomy. If I would have the power, I will execute him exactly like you said, which means this answer can really fit to the print and to the manuscript, which means you asked me why I didn't kill him. In terms of judgment, I don't have the authority. In terms of trying to be a rebel, no, I can't. I'm not a rebel. I can't execute. I can't kill anyone. My power is so small. My power is so diluted. I cannot rebel against you. So by now, what do we have? Because I see based on time that we're not going to finish it up today. So I'll try to summarize.
Do they have the power to give malchus?
Who, the Jewish people?
Yeah,
Like the Jewish leaders?
yeah.
So it seems to be that even that was questionable, but perhaps acceptable, which means that the lashes themselves are not as execution. So sometimes they give lashes for someone who violated their commandments or whatever it is, and the Romans didn't really cared about it. Execution was something that only the authority can do. I think lashes were given. We know that lashes were given even in the time of the Roman Empire, which was okay. I mean, that was like an internal punishment, like knasot, like fees and penalties like that were accepted, even though there was a Roman government. So if that's true, what do we have until now? So we have Rav Shila, who is trying to manage his way, and in order to not to be executed himself by the Roman government for what he did or for what they accused him to do, he needs to lie. Now, there is a problem. Do you know what's the problem? Rav Shila knows that this Jew did not have a relationship with the donkey. He had a relationship with a non-Jewish woman. He violated the law, he should get lashes. Now, the problem is that when he said to the Romans, I did whatever I could, I don't have authority to execute him, you do whatever you want. Which means, what do you think the Roman government will do to someone who had a relationship with a donkey?
Kill him.
Kill him. But there is a problem. What's the problem?
He didn't do it.
He doesn't deserve death. Basically, what Rav Shila does now, in order to save his own skin, he is extraditing, so to speak. He is giving a Jew to the Roman Empire, and they can execute him for a transgression he didn't really do. You can come up with a drasha that when you sleep with a non-Jew, it might be like a donkey. This is a wonderful, beautiful, or maybe not a beautiful drasha, but this is not the halacha. What Rav Shila does, and I'm the only one excited here, Rav Shila, because of his falsity, because he basically says something that is not true, he put a Jew in danger and in a situation and in a scenario that he does not deserve the punishment that probably the government, the Roman government, will implement. We have a problem. Paul,
Yeah.
it's good to see you on the screen as well on the street.
I think there's another problem with Rav Shila. He wasn't really a rabbi of his community. Why didn't he talk to the guy and say, why are you doing this? He wasn't fulfilling his pastoral duties as a rabbi.
Paul, good question. So first and foremost, maybe he was not a good pulpit rabbi. Okay, that's one. B, maybe, and that's what I hinted a bit, is that perhaps this guy who transgressed and had relationship with this non-Jew was a very strong, powerful person who didn't listen to the rabbis. Maybe Rav Shila had a conversation with him, or maybe they had a confrontation since the get-go. I don't know. Maybe that option of talking to him and telling him, Bni lo tova shmua, look, I want to talk to you about what you do, just didn't work. And that's why he...
But he didn't have authority anyway. Even if you say he was a rabbi, according to halacha, you had to give him a warning, you had to find edim. He was, what's the word? He didn't have authority even according to Jewish law, never mind non-Jewish law.
So that's why, by the way, I think the manuscript is so good. Chazye, he saw it, meaning in a way he had to do it. He saw something that was totally inappropriate and he had to react, because it might be even, now I'm speculating, that someone saw Rav Shila seeing it, and if he will not react to it, the Jewish community basically will fall apart. But it's all speculation. And that's where the beauty of that story. I think the manuscript is trying to lead us to something that this is a big confrontation between a rabbi and a Jew who is very powerful, at least in his own mind, and thinks that he can do whatever he wants, and the rabbis cannot touch him. Phil.
Didn't there have to be two Adam before he punished him?
The what?
Witnesses. Two witnesses. Oh, I'm sorry. It's on you.
No. You are muted. Unmute. Phil, you need to unmute. Okay.
I'm saying there had to be two witnesses before he punished them.
Oh, okay. So that's where I think where Paul asked also the question. It seems to be this entire lashes thing is not even according to Jewish law. We have a problem. Like, what do you go? Like, you decide. So that's what I'm saying. I think Rav Shila saw himself as a judge, and he needs to make order. And if he sees, and that's why I bring the manuscript, if he saw something that it's inappropriate, he needs to say something. By the way, it's so relevant to nowadays. Okay, if a rabbi sees or hears something that it's totally inappropriate, he needs to start acting upon it. Okay, and
This
start
is-
saying something, and maybe start standing up against it, okay? And not just to wait and wait and wait and wait, okay? Because who knows where it's going to go. So we need to be, I want us to try to, I don't want to dramatize the story, but I want to make it real. We have a problem here. I'm a Jewish leader that has almost zero power in terms of the Roman Empire, but I have all the power and the responsibilities as a Rav, as the leader of the community, as the spiritual leader, as someone who must make sure that my community follow the halakha, the mitzvot, and the ethical and moral principles. And if I see something that is totally unethical, inappropriate, whatever it is, or violating the halakha, I need to react. And the only way I can react is I can't talk to this guy. The only thing I can give him lashes. I have some guys, take him, give him lashes, so maybe he will learn the lesson. Obviously, he didn't, but maybe. Yes, Paul.
If we're speculating already, maybe that's the reason why he came up with the drasha, Lecha Hashem Hagdula V'Gvura. Hagdula is the Romans and the Gvura is the man.
Okay,
And neither have the authority.
Okay, we will get to the drasha Bezrat Hashem. I don't know when is the next time I'm teaching, but we'll go back to it. So keep the source sheet, because I think it's a fascinating story that really reflects so much about Jewish history, and we'll talk about some historical events later on, Bezrat Hashem. But basically what we have is that Rav Shila, we have the issue is, he tries to be this beautiful, great person who's trying to make stop for unethical and inappropriate behaviors. He brings this Jew to be punished for a transgression he didn't do. So take a look what Rav Shila does. Can you see the source sheet now?
But it's worse than that, Rav, because he gets Eliyahu Hanavi as a complicit partner in the accusation.
Okay, very good. So Jerry is asking an additional question. He says, "What's going on here?" He says, "What?" He says, when he is asked, "Do you have aidim?" He says, "Yeah, I have an aid. I have," and Eliyahu comes to his assistance. So first and foremost, this is a miracle for someone who is lying. That's A. B, the fact that Eliyahu comes along, it seems to be that maybe Mishamayim, they agree with what Rav Shila is doing, which is also an issue. Since when we agree with someone who is lying? Now, Phil, I saw that you're raising your hand, so just 1 second. I just want to show you something interesting. עד תונמי דביתו אבידו, עד דמעייני בבדינה פתח רבי שילה ואמר לך השם הגדולה והגבורה. So they are talking about the case, the Roman government or the judges there, and he starts saying a drasha. Okay, he starts quoting this pasuk. Now, quoting this pasuk, לך השם הגדולה והגבורה והתפארת והנצח, it seems to be like what? Like Rav Shila says, look, I know I made a mistake. This is now my interpretation. You don't need to accept it. Hashem, I know that really I didn't have the authority just to give him lashes. And I know they don't have the authority to judge him, because they are going to judge him for a transgression he didn't do. I'm saying, Lecha Hashem, Hagdula v'Hagvura v'Tiferet v'Hanetzach. You control everything. Therefore, Hashem, in a way, I'm asking you to do what? To take over this case. To basically, you should be the judge. If he deserved death because of whatever he did, let him have it. If he does not, let him go. And by the way, I'm skipping a bit, but this guy, Nafik, the Roman government did not judge this guy for death, for a death penalty. They let him go, which is very, very, very strange. The guy had relationship with the donkey. There is a witness, and the Roman government says it's okay. By the way, what does it say to you about this Jew? As I said before, very powerful Jew. He might bribe them. He might have connections. They somehow exonerate him for a transgression that even by Roman law, you will be punished, which is amazing. That says to you a lot about this Jew in terms of his connections and power and wealth. So what we have here is that Rav Shila, I think, felt bad about what he did. And he says, look, God, I can't do anything anymore. You are in control. you should lead them to the right judgment. Before we conclude, Phil, you had a question?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, the ending might well be that the editor or somebody put in that statement to approve of what Shilo did.
We will talk about it. Don't worry, Phil. I'm not giving any discounts to the editor of the story. What we see here, there is no question. The question of the storyteller was, 1 second, Rav Shila is now giving a Jew to the Romans, which is terrible. It's like a moiser. Rav Shila becomes the moiser. If at the beginning of the story, the Jew was the moiser, because he was telling about Rav Shila to the government, now Rav Shila became the moiser. He became a rodef. He gave a Jew to the Romans' hands, knowing that they can kill him for something he didn't do.
But this is what I wanted to say. It's the second part of it.
That's what I'm saying, Phil. That's exactly what I'm saying. The storyteller is basically saying what? Let's justify what Rav Shila did. Yeah, sure.
More so, Eit Lasot Lashem.
Leave that, because this is not Et Lasot LaHashem. I don't want to go there. I want to go to something that it's totally different. It seems to be that the storyteller is basically telling us Rav Shila did something wrong. Let's cover it up. Basically, he was not a rodef to some extent, because he really prayed that Hashem will, quote unquote, save this Jew from the Roman hands and will let him live, and somehow Rav Shila and this Jew will find a common language. So I'm sure I didn't give you too many answers for the questions that we ask. I hope that you are not that confused like you were in the beginning. However, we're going to revisit this story, Bezrat Hashem, next time, because there is so much to add to it. I can make it even 3 shiurim, but I'm not going to. I'm not sure exactly when is the next time I'm teaching, but we will please, when I do, I think it's 2 weeks or 3 weeks, if you can just refresh your memory before we start, so we can start fresh, but not that fresh that we don't remember what we spoke about. So this is for now, and please try to think about other solutions or options to understand the story. So this is for today. Keep healthy as much as we all can, and keep safe, and everyone have a Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you very much. Shabbat Shalom.
My pleasure.
אוקיי, תודה רבה.